One. Well, hello, everybody. My name is Scott Kelly. I am the founder and CEO of Black Dog Venture Partners and your host of VCFastPitch. I'm going to just do a couple of things in terms of rules of the road, so to speak. We're not going to do note-taking apps. Ann is going to co-host and monitor that. We're not going to record. We're not going to. I will record the session and send everything to you. But let me do this. I'm going to start by sharing my screen. I'll let Ann let everybody else in as we go. Okay. If you can see my screen, why don't you give me a thumbs up? Okay. All righty, very good. Go to slideshow mode. All righty. Again, welcome to our VC Fast Pitch on August 20th. Again, my name is Scott Kelly, your host. I want to support, I want to encourage all of you to support our sponsors, Fidelity Private Shares, EVTIT, and TriNet. They've been great supporters of entrepreneurs and our events over the years. We'll send some follow-up information on that after our call, but I encourage you to make a note. They'll have some special offers for you after our event. A couple things coming up. Our next online VC Fast Pitch is coming up September 20th, or 23rd rather, at 1 p.m. Eastern Time via Zoom. We have events that we're hosting around the country live. So if you are interested in any of them, feel free to shoot me an email. My email is scott@blackdogvp. One of our other partners and sponsors is Level Up Ventures. If you want to apply to their firm, there is a link there. Couple things. This is our agenda for today. Obviously, I'm going over some opening remarks. After I'm done, I'm going to go around the room and ask our investors two things. Tell them a little about themselves and what they invest in and how they invest. And then also, what do you do or what do you want to hear in a pitch today? Then we've got some great companies presenting, followed by investor Q&A, and I'll announce them in a second. We're going to have a special presentation from our friend and partners at Fidelity Private Shares. And then we'll have some investor Q&A answer at the end. And that'll give everybody an opportunity to ask some questions of our investors. And then what we've done lately is after the recording, we're going to keep the Zoom open for a little while and allow everybody on the call to do some open networking. So, great companies presenting today. We're going to start in a few minutes with Tweelin, presented by Dario De Santis. SimplyRetail, presented by Sean Flynn. Working Musicians Academy, presented by Lisa Canning. Nigthrush AI, and I do apologize for the typo, presented by Ben Kotler. Qovry, presented by Josh. And then Loved, presented by Terry Anderton. So those are our presenting companies today. Again, here are the rules, as I mentioned before. Make sure your audio is muted until you're prompted to unmute. No note-taking or recording apps. We're going to record and send the recording to everybody after the event. If someone has a question, use the raise hand function to answer that question, or you can post it in chat if you have a problem there. After every 5-minute pitch, there'll be 5 minutes of Q&A from our investor panelists. If we have some additional time, we may allow some of our attendees to ask questions of our presenting companies. And then again, keep in mind, a question is not an opportunity to pitch. We'll have an open session after our recording. And then if you do want to pitch at a future event, you can reach out to me for more details. And then lastly, don't post in chat until prompted to do so. And as I always say in these events, show me the money and let's get to business. All righty, I'm going to unshare my screen. What I'd like to do now is I'm going to go through our investors, and I'm going to ask, as I said, I'm going to ask them a couple of things. One, what do you invest in, how you invest? And two, what do you want to hear in your 5-minute pitch today? So if you are an investor and I miss you, make sure you use the raise hand function so I know you're here. First up on my screen is Brian Neer. Brian, are you there?
Yes, thank you for calling on me and thank you for inviting me.
Awesome. Well, Brian, tell us a little about your firm, how you invest, what you invest in, and then tell our presenters and everyone else what do you want to hear in the pitch today.
So we're an early stage fintech focused fund with a concentration in emerging markets. We're looking to build a very diversified portfolio. We already have 80 investments. We're hoping to build that up to 200. What I'm looking to hear from you guys today is just like, what's the key problem you're solving? How are you solving it? How much traction do you have? And why your team?
Fantastic. Thanks, Brian, for joining us. I know, Jay, you've been great on these calls. Jay, Garth, why don't you share about yourself and what you want to hear today?
Hey, Scott, thanks for inviting me again. And I'm with Redtail Capital, which is my own investment firm. I'm an angel investor. I invest my own money through Redtail. I'm also a member of TCA Venture Group and a number of other angel organizations. So I'm an angel investor. I like to invest in the very, very early stages, trying to help entrepreneurs who are actually taking innovation and moving it to the market. And so I'm an impact investor. And what I'd like to see today is something that surprises me.
Okay, let's surprise Jay today. That's a good idea. It's always good to surprise Jay. So, all right, I know we got some other investors I'm scrolling through right now. If I do call on you, if you could raise your hand or just post something in chat, I'm scrolling through right now. Fantastic. Gary, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell them about how you invest and what you want to hear today.
So yeah, I'm here with the Investor Circle, which Jay, you may be familiar with as probably the oldest impact investment angel group in the country. And over 34 years, about $300 million in total deal flow. So here looking for companies that are looking to do people, planet, profit type of ventures, so that they've got to have the solid business model and be able to return and create a good return, as well as being able to do something good for the planet.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us, Gary. Anna, welcome. Anna, why don't you share a little bit about yourself, how you invest, and what do you want to hear today?
Thanks, Scott. I'm Anna DeTurt, and I lead Gloucester Ventures, which is a single-family office. We mostly invest in healthcare and biotech, but I'm here today because I love seeing innovation. I love seeing really cool cutting-edge innovation. I'm looking for something I haven't seen before. I invest mainly at pre-seed and seed stage, and I also invest sometimes through an angel network called Life Science Angels. And what I'd like to see today, as I mentioned, is that really cutting edge, something new that I haven't experienced before. Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. Tim Arnold, welcome. Why don't you share a little about your firm and what you want to hear today?
Excellent. Thanks, Scott, for the invite. Gary, good to see you again. Tim Arnold with Steamwork Ventures, general partner. Got a partner, Marshall Smith, down in LA. I'm in Santa Barbara. And first fund was earlier stage health, wealth, and sustainability. Second one we just launched is a core opportunity fund, and we're looking for Series A investments. And it's actually non-AI, no LLM, no wrappers, just good old-fashioned SaaS-based businesses that just need an A to unlock and exit. So yeah, what I'm looking for, we know, somebody wants it, that's why you got here, but will they use it? Are there other stakeholders involved in the decision making? Can they pay for it? Who's the one deciding who's going to pay for this? And kind of what's the saliency around the pain? Are they aware of it? Are you trying to make them aware of it? And then is that pain persistent, episodic, cyclical? Do you know kind of where these waves are, where to meet the customer on this sale? That's
Fantastic.
it.
Thanks for joining us, Tim. Real quick aside, Tim and I are going to be hosting our in-person event October 8th in Santa Barbara. So if you want to come to somewhere beautiful and get in front of investors and other entrepreneurs, reach out to me and I'll share you details on our October 8th VCFastPitch event in Santa Barbara. So thanks again, Tim. I know we have some other investors that are going to be coming in late. I wasn't sure if I missed anybody. If I've missed anybody, please either post it in chat or do the raise hand function. I know there's a few I may have missed. All right. All righty. Got me in. All right. We got one for Santa Barbara. Fantastic. All right, let's do this. I'll probably take a break during the day today and introduce some of our other investors as they log in. So here's what I'd like to do. I'm going to throw our agenda and the companies that are going to be presenting. So let's do this. I'm going to throw this into chat right now so we can stay on track. Okay, I'm going to ask Ann if you could smart the chat. That would be great. All right, so in just a few minutes, we're going to go through our 5-minute presentation. So just so those of you listening in haven't been involved before, I am going to be here with 5-minute stopwatch on my phone. And what's going to happen is I'm going to call Dario first, and obviously go through all of them. I'm going to say 3, 2, 1. They're going to run their slides and run their presentation. I'm going to give them a 30-second warning in chat. And then in 5 minutes, they're done. I tell everybody it's not 5:01, it's not 5:03, it's 5:00. After our 5 minutes, then you'll have an opportunity to take some questions from our investor panelists. So it's always never easy going first. So I always like to thank them in advance. Dario, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hello, everybody.
All right. I want you to share your screen.
I'm going ahead and sharing my screen that you should all see momentarily. There you go.
There you go. All right.
Just
You ready
give
to
me
go?
I'm
All
ready.
right.
Whenever
All
you
right.
are.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay. In medium and large enterprises, the calendar of key people is a static wall made of overlapping 30 minutes meetings, which make decision makers unreachable. So everyone waits weeks for decisions that should take minutes. And workflow pause, slowing down projects, customer requests, revenue initiatives with a big economic impact. And it's getting worse with agentic systems. They automate routine execution, but cannot assume authority for every commercial, legal, security, or customer decision. More autonomous work creates more moments when accountable humans are needed for judgment. And human decision moments are a very limited resource. It's a bottleneck. No decision, no outcome. And that's our unique insight. The missing infrastructure is not another agent, it's a layer that knows who is accountable, reaches them with consent, gets a decision, and lets the workflow continue. So we built an enterprise agentic solution that accelerates the conversations that matter without calendar bloat. And by combining near real-time device signals and calendar availability, Tweelin can dynamically find the earliest possible moment to accelerate conversations with zero effort, even on busy calendars. For example, a meeting gets canceled for Rita. A meeting ends early for Jane. Kim's smartphone is silent, but the screen turns on and she can now see notifications. There is enough time to talk before their next meetings, so Tweelin brings them together in an instant conversations on the best possible channel they have in common. We are in a blue ocean. There's nothing like Tweelin today in the market, comparable technology. For that reason, Gartner named us a cool vendor in digital workplace applications. And while our competitors mostly use AI to play calendar Tetris, Tweelin is the only solution that avoids calendar events while accelerating conversations and outcomes dynamically. And this is just the beginning. We're working on AI agents integrated with corporate tools that autonomously determine the need for people to talk to accelerate specific business outcome automatically. For example, expediting a project. And our partner Accenture loves that. Now, we performed extensive research to figure out the right value-based pricing, and we determined an annual contract value of $73,000. The price is based on coordination time savings, does not capture the specific advantages of accelerating outcomes. Our future agents will capture that part as an upsell. So we calculated TAM and SAM bottom up, which is here on the screen. Now, Tweelin is sold via a SaaS model. Our ideal customer is a Microsoft 365 customer with 1,000+ Teams user. They can buy Tweelin on the Microsoft Enterprise Marketplace or the TD SYNNEX Marketplace. We primarily go to market via channel partners like Accenture for scalability, and we have an active partner program. We also have some small-scale direct sales, which are vital to stay close to our customers and learn. We're raising 1.6 million on a safe with 16 million post-money cap. The round logic is raising enough capital to turn the visible market pool into auditable traction before the next financing. This amount will fund operations for 24 months, minimum check size 50K. By the way, the founders have substantial skin in the game, and there's a very clean cap table. We will use the funds to accelerate the current pipeline conversion, build sales and customer success playbooks, and accelerate our agentic roadmap. I'm an experienced product leader, 2 times Gartner Cool Vendor with AI companies, ex-director of product at Cisco WebEx, where I work with some of the folks you see on AI software and collaboration devices. The rest of the team is made by very experienced enterprise leaders, including Deepinder, who was Microsoft Copilot's global GM of customer success. Now, between board and advisors, we have a couple of members with 3 exits each, John and Thomas. In total, we have 109 years of combined collaboration industry experience and about 60 years in enterprise security. And at 4 minutes 44, I'm done. Thank you. Questions?
Great job. 4 minutes 44 on the dot. Great job, Dario. All righty. I know we got some questions. I'll have Jay go first in just a moment, but I know if you have a question, our investors, you can use the raise hand function. So, Jay, why don't you go first?
Thanks, Scott. Dario, that was a great presentation. I've seen it. This is the second time. This is much improved over the first one. I get
Thank
it. This time I see the difference that you're making in the market. Before, that was eluding me. The one thing that I have a question about is your go-to-market and your revenue streams, and do you have any traction yet?
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about go-to-market. What we are doing through partners and a little bit directly is we are approaching companies with low risk initial purchases by deploying Tweelin along a specific workflow that we can accelerate, and then we expand economically naturally. So it's a fixed fee pilot based on one high value workflow and a clearly defined success metrics. And once we demonstrate the measurable value, then the customer moves to an annual contract with a department level. And then eventually we can expand to the entire organization through enterprise agreements. We are getting qualified right now to be part of Microsoft enterprise agreements, with the, and be bought through the Azure credits that a lot of companies have laying around, and they're use it or lose it. And, so this is kind of on the business model level. And going back to go to market, let me see, we are currently actively going to market with Arsenalia. We have a couple of deals that we hope we're very good, high likely to be closed before the end of the year. It's a large law firm and, also a large shipyard. And there's also other possible deals. Let me respond to the traction. So as I said, we are actively co-selling with Accenture and Microsoft. Now, we currently made very little money because we have 10 customers who barely monetize enterprises, but they were okay with using Tweelin without ISO and SOC 2 compliance, and they helped us iterate fast to get ready for prime time. And today is prime time. We check all the boxes to serve Fortune 500 companies. We are expecting to close the first deals, as I said, before the end of the year. First large, enterprise, significant deals.
Great. So Dario, while we do this, when we take a question from Anna. Anna, go ahead.
Thanks very much for the presentation. I'm trying to understand how you're different from ServiceNow, Workday, others who are claiming to build agentic workflows. There are many of those out there. I know the partnership with Microsoft is helpful, but can you just explain how you're different and why you have a moat?
Yeah. So the difference is let me pull up something that may be helpful. The difference is, nobody currently is using our approach to determine users' availability across any device instantaneously. So we may be a complement of ServiceNow. We have a core technology that can be integrated with their agentic vision for the agentic enterprise, and we can, whenever there's, for example, a triage incident that needs to be, that requires people to jump on a call and quickly sync, we can accelerate the moment from determining the need for people to talk and getting people into that call. That is our core technology. That is what others don't have. Now, agentic AI, everybody can do that. It's full of frameworks today. Nobody has our unique ability to look at holistically all the devices that somebody has. May have 10 devices with different apps, and see, between me and you and what devices are currently active, what are we exhibiting a pattern of usage of these devices that, combined with calendar availability and other metrics, allow us to understand exactly whether we are, with a high degree of confidence, available
So,
right now to have a sync.
Dario, while we take a pause for a second, see if we got that question answered that Anna had. Was that adequate answer, Anna?
I think it's a good start. Thank you.
Okay,
Right.
thank you, Dario. Very good. You can unshare your screen, Dario. That's fantastic. And then we've got Sean Flynn coming up. Sean, you can
All
share your
right.
screen.
Let's see.
Let me know when you're ready to go through your slides.
There we go.
All right, you ready?
Outstanding.
There
There
we
you go.
All right. All right. Three. Look for 30-second in chat, Sean. 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for taking the time. I'm Sean Flynn, CEO, founder of Simply Retail. We're turning the physical world into a real-time data network. I'm going to start with my team because that's going to lead into the problem, and you'll understand why we are suited to solve this issue. Start with my co-founder, Colin Green. He's a Silicon Valley engineer, programmer. Has gone, 0 to 1 with quite a few companies. Knows how to scale engineering teams. My COO, Matt Champion. He was former CMO over at Bevmo. He's a Procter and Gamble guy, Amazon guy. Decades and decades of retail experience. I was also able to pull together a pretty rock star group of advisors, starting with Meng Chi. He was the former head of product at Walmart. Jim Coyne, he was the former CEO over at Nestle. And then Ray Lane, former president, CEO of Oracle, partner at KP, all the good stuff with Ray. Ray was also a former investor in my last company. All right. Let me start with the problem. So my background. I spent the last 6 years building a better for you food company called Hero Bread. Think bread without carbs, without sugar, high protein, high fiber, all the good things. Took it 0 to 100 million run rate in about 6 years. And that's important because that's where I cut my teeth in retail. I understand what it means to succeed on the shelf. I know what it takes to build a winning brand. And that's what's going to lead into the problem. I launched my first big customer was Publix out of Florida. We got our first months of syndicated data after we launched our product in store, and it was terrible. I went to our head of sales. I'm like, what's going on? He says, look, I have no idea. Next month, same deal. I said, how do we figure out what's going on in the store and on the shelf? He said, the only way to do it is to hire a third-party merchandiser where they physically send a human being into each and every store to go find your product, take a picture, and then a month later, you get that data back. So I'm getting lag data. Coverage is spotty. Sometimes you have to hire two companies to get coverage on a large retailer, and it's really, really expensive. And, I'm like, look, there's got to be a better way. The other problem is when retailers launch promotions, 70% of promotions are never really executed. That is a massive amount of money that is being left on the table. The solution, Simply Retail. So what we do, high level, is visibility at scale. You can't fix what you can't see. So what we've done is we've developed a software that you can onboard into the existing hardware of a retailer. The reason this is important is because we can scale really fast. We're not looking at drones. We're not looking at shelf cameras. We're not looking at robots. So we take our software, we onboard it into the existing hardware of a retailer. They all have zebras, these little zebra, Honeywell scanners, iPhones, Androids, anything with a camera. We partner with the retailer. This is important because that gives us 100% coverage. They then walk up and down the aisles. That's part of their regular workflow. And they're able to take a 10, 15-second video of an aisle. And then we process that video through our software, and we're able to extract all the important data points you need to succeed on the shelf. Most importantly, am I on the shelf? Am I priced correctly? Am I planogram compliant? Am I in the right part of the store? If I'm running a promotion, is that promotion being reflected in that store? This visibility allows us brands and retailers to make decisions where we deploy resources. We can't fix what we can't see. So high level, we are visibility at scale, cheap, fast, and in real time. Our business model, we partner with the retailers. We give them the software. They deploy it. We use their people, their hardware. And what's exciting is we're able to take this same data set and monetize it 3 different ways. We're able to monetize it once to the retailers. They need this data for better internal operations. Everybody's striving for operational excellence. We're able to then monetize that same data set to the brands. This is existing spend. Brands are already paying for this. We are partnering with the retailer and we do a rev share. That's why the retailer is incentivized to partner with us. Again, existing spend, brands spend on this. We're spending it on third parties. We're spending on auditors. We're spending on compliance. So we're shifting money from the pockets of third parties back to the retailers and obviously to us. Home Depot developed that model. They brought merchandising in-house. What's really exciting is retailers can mandate it. It's part of a fair share tax that brands are already used to paying for. Home Depot did it. It's called the Merchandising Execution Team. They told all the brands, hey, listen, no longer are you allowed to use outside third parties. You have to go through our internal system. They did it to the tune of 1.4 billion last year. The third revenue channel for us would be third-party merchandising, third-party data licensing companies. Think Circana, think Spins, think Nielsen. They provide POS data. They can tell you what's sold, but they cannot tell you why or why not it didn't sell. They can't tell you what's going on at the physical shelf. We can. So licensing that data will give brands the complete picture as far as what's going on with their product. Now, the 4th channel, which isn't on here, that we're still in discovery on, and I believe will be the long play for us, is the frontier AI training models. Think Anthropic, think chat. Yep.
Sean, I'm going to have to cut you off there.
Oh.
Why don't you go to the Ask slide, and then we'll open up the Q&A. Okay?
All right. Ask slide. We raised 2 mil already. We're raising 3 mil at a 20 cap with a 20% discount. We got $1.5 million left in allocation.
Fantastic. Awesome. If you have a question for Sean, you can raise your hand in chat. So Sean, talk to me how this operates. You mentioned how it's been done in the past, but what other competing technology is out there that is trying to change how it's happened in the past?
Yeah, absolutely. Our model is unique as far as partnering with the retailer, but our competitors are out there are the Tallies, the Simbays, the robotics companies out there. I think they're really cool hardware, but good luck selling hardware into retail. It's expensive. It scales slow, and it's just not realistic in the next 5 years. I've had the opportunity to sit down and chat with a C-suite of a lot of the major retailers. And it's cool technology. They'll pilot it, but it'll never scale.
Fantastic. Tim, you have a question? Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, real quick. One thing I always recommend is unless you have a celebrity investor, put that team slide to the back. Nobody cares. Not discounting your accomplishment, but that's the insurance on what you're doing. And you sucked up some really valuable time. It looks like some great slides you slipped through. So I would switch that around. Because once we get there, we know like, oh, here's the killer team to do this. Real quick, is Pickle still in the market using consumer data and devices? And are they a potential threat?
I believe they're using crowdsource. They're trying to use customers coming in to take videos. But in retail, you got to be consistently consistent, and you can't get consistent, videos. Or at least I don't believe they've been able to do that.
Got it. Okay, thanks.
And we got a question from Jay. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I've got a question about your partnership with retailers because I like your approach. Could you walk us through a little bit more of that model, how the retailer actually integrates your system into what they already have and how they incorporate the people who are already working there into the workflow?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we want to be disruptive, but without being disruptive. Retail's been operating the same way for 100 years. So we learned we need to be frictionless. So we're a bolt-on solution. Again, we use their Zebra Honeywell devices that their employees are already using, and we fall in line with their existing workflow. Their folks are already walking around the store, so we provide them a task list on their device. They know that they need to go scan aisle one. They scan aisle one. They just take a video. If you can TikTok or Instagram, you can take a video of a shelf. Again, it takes 10, 15 seconds, and then we process that through our software and extract all the data. We monetize that data back to the brands, and then we do a revenue share with the retailer. So we're able to take low value employees and have them do high value tasks.
So the brands would be using this information for advertising, promotions, things like that?
100%. And they also, most importantly, they know where to deploy resources. So if I'm in a 1,000 store chain, I don't have to deploy people to all 1,000 stores. I can deploy them to the 20 stores that have pricing issues, that simply don't have product on shelf, or they don't have the displays that I sent out that I spent $50 a piece on that aren't put up.
Awesome. Thanks for that question, Jay. Gary, got a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, Sean, great presentation. I agree with Tim about the team up front kind of took away because I would love to have seen the financials that support that 20 million cap in particular. Also wanted to know about, it seems like this could be solving a big waste problem because so much of our food is ending up in waste, as well as you've got one store that has too much product, another store that doesn't have enough. So it seems like it could be a balancing system between chains. So can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We're starting in retail, but we had one of our design partners. We were pulled into hospital group. Speaking of waste, there is no system of record for product in hospitals. They are operating via pen and paper. It is archaic, so we're able to scan expiration dates. So as new product comes in at hospital A, we can scan those expiration dates. We become the system of record. So when hospital B needs new product, they instead of ordering new product, they can ship it from hospital A to hospital B. One of our design partners, they are discarding millions of dollars in product because they simply don't know when it expires. This was low hanging fruit for us. Taking a video or a scan of an expiration date is pretty easy for us. So that's a place where we're already launched in.
Right. Thanks for that question, Gary. And Sean, great presentation. Thank you. You can unshare your screen.
Yep.
All righty. Next up, we've got Lisa from Working Musicians Academy. So, Lisa, when you get a chance, you can share your screen.
See my
All right,
screen?
Lisa, I can see it just fine. So I'm going to count you down 3, 2, 1, and just keep have an eye on the chat for a 30-second warning.
Wait a second. I've lost my screen. Okay.
All right, you good?
Yep.
All righty. 3, 2, 1, go.
I found my instrument on a dairy farm and it became a skill and then it became income. That income got me out from under a dysfunctional parent to build a life of my own. Music didn't just move me, it actually paid for my freedom. I've spent the last 40 years building that path for other musicians. I'm Lisa Canning. Working Musicians Academy trains the technicians and product specialists this industry can't find. We are raising $250,000 staged. So in America, every week of every semester in every single state, a kid's clarinet breaks. Nobody is there locally to fix it. So that kid falls behind and quits band. 40 out of 41 NAMM businesses cannot find a repair technician. School music is down 20% since the pandemic. The industry's own pipeline is failing at the infrastructure level. There are 3 things driving this. Techs leave because they're not paid enough presently and they get burned out or they're aging out. Dealers lose money because they're financing stock on too slim of margins. And nobody is running the handoff between demand and sales. So we built the missing piece. We train working musicians, we certify them, and connect them to the manufacturers, dealers, and schools who need them. The employer is who funds the slot, not the musician. We fill those classes, we certify them, we help improve the profitability of dealers, and we create more demand. We are both better and cheaper. We're 35% below our next cheapest credential. We are easier because we're virtual, and we are faster because we convert a workforce that already exists. We have 4 revenue lines. The employers pay most of it. repair tuition, our product specialist curriculum, and the $650 a month for managed product specialists. Musicians pay a very small amount of money because we know they need to have skin in the game, and that's what makes people finish. We take no share of specialist sales. We are at roughly 1.5 million break even. This revenue comes mostly from the shop, which funded the research to test each component of our program over the last 5 years. Next year is the first year we flip primarily into the academy and turn on the engine. We serve 2 customers. I already reached both with no trade association yet, no school behind us or manufacturer. On the musician side, we have about 30,000 leads. 10,000 of them are for Working Musicians Academy. Plus, we have an active podcast called Toot Your Own Horn, and we recently ran a test for musicians for a media campaign that we just completed. On the employer side, I've spent 40 years in this trade, and I am known very well as a dealer. We have trained 259 students since 2021 nationwide. 88% have completed the work and put it to use. Last year, we ran 10 product specialists for 6 months. They sold 5 product lines, and that mix is a recipe, and it is what we teach. Shop sales went up 20%, profit went up 54%, but profit grew 3 times faster than sales. That only happens when someone is selling the right thing instead of cheap things. We stopped that because we were paying them. Now the industry will pay us. We've won a number of awards. Most recently, we were on Midwest's fastest growing 2020, 25, and 26 list, Female Founders 2025, U.S. Chamber of Commerce Top 100 Businesses in America. The work has been done. I built DePaul's music business program and the Institute for Arts Entrepreneurship, which was recognized by 2 presidential administrations. I ran a $10 million school band and orchestra store where the dealer economic lessons came from. I then built Lisa's Clarinet Shop, which is 15 years old, still working in it because we are the walking example of the model we want our industry to adopt. Bruce Marking, former head of woodwind repair at Buffet Crampon, built the repair curriculum while I built the product specialist curriculum. Duke Smith Hawley came through our program, now owns a shop in New Zealand and manages our teaching staff. And we have just about to launch a repair program in China. This is indeed a deep global niche, and we have just early proof that it travels. We're looking for only $50,000 initially to fund 3 campaigns, one for musicians, employers, and public awareness, to answer one question: will employers and sponsors pay? We are looking for $200,000 in 2027, released only against that result. That money will fund a product education specialist to help us build specialist curriculum, support to match employers and students into placement, and digital ads and email campaigns. Second, a second need, which isn't money, is we need an artist of significant influence. Our goal is one global artist who cares about this industry's survival. Keep Music Playing is a campaign that we've built to carry it. Without that artist, we are a profitable national training business. With one, we are a trade that will become culturally visible for the first time in 50 years. The work is proven. The question is how fast it moves and who moves it.
Fantastic. Great job, Lisa. If you have a question, you can raise your hand in chat. Lisa, you mentioned sponsorship. Maybe you could share a little bit, what a ideal sponsor is and what a sponsor provides.
An ideal sponsor would be somebody who recognizes in their community that they could benefit from more musical activity and recognize that that part of their community life is gone. So they might be a corporation, they might be a main employer in that town. It's someone who has a local knowledge of what's going on or a national knowledge of, based on their customers, that this would be a benefit to be able to promote and advocate for.
Okay. If you have a question, chat. Okay, Jay, I'll let you go. Go ahead, Jay.
Hi, Lisa. Thanks for the presentation. I have a question from an investor point of view because, investors are always looking for a payoff. And your model, I'm not sure what you see as an exit scenario or if there is one or if it's just going to be cash on cash return. Have you projected anything on what's in it for the investor?
Yes. Once we flip to a academic environment, we expect by 2030, when this executes, just on the income that we receive, to earn about 1.57 billion, and we hope to sell to either a manufacturer, distributor, or maybe to our artist and their foundation.
Okay, great. Jay, you got a follow-up? You good? Good? Awesome.
Good.
Fantastic. All righty. Well, Lisa, thanks for that presentation. I appreciate that. You can I will call up next. I'm going to throw it into chat. Is Nightrush AI with Ben. Ben, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, you can share your screen.
Okay, 1 second.
All right.
Okay, you can see everything?
I can see. I'm going to count down 3, 2, 1. Look for a 30-second warning in chat. 3, 2, 1, go.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ben. I'm the founder of Nightrush. Nightrush is a platform for the hospitality industry. The hospitality industry, if you think of bars, nightclubs, restaurants, F&B, things attached to hotels and event spaces, is about a $2 trillion industry. And it employs about 7% of the US workforce and another 3% on the service provider side. However, as much as revenue as it generates, it pretty much drives most of that revenue into the expenses that it costs to run all those events and operations. And if you guys are familiar, most of the great restaurants that we all grow up with and enjoy go out of business within 5 years. So why does that happen? And this comes from decades of experience. It's because every operation has 70 to 100 vendors that you need to constantly rotate to fix, build, and staff your place, to do entertainment, to food purveyors, all that stuff. All of this process has never been centralized. And the way it's usually done is, hey, I got a guy, like my speaker system broke. Who do you have that does audio? My staff called out, I need a backup bartender. And anyone that's done events, Scott, I'm sure you've experienced this many times. There's always a last minute need. You get a perfect venue, but then someone calls out. You get food is delivered, but there's no ice, and so on. So we aggregated all the vendors into one centralized system. There's 338 categories that we have put together of vendors, 77 types of operations. And our system is able to take in every kind of transaction. You can see, like, if you're opening a venue in New York City, where I'm based, if you want a lawyer, it's like, hey, do you need an SLA application, 500-foot check, da, da, da. This is just one thing out of 338. Then maybe you need a lease attorney, a restaurant consultant, and so on. So it is a massive undertaking to operate a venue. It is a massive undertaking to build a venue. And it is also a pretty sizable undertaking to do an event, which we all, I think, even when you plan your own little birthdays or a wedding, everybody knows the stress that goes into setting it up. So our solution is to put it all together by taking our hospitality network, which is massive, creating a LinkedIn type of profile and allowing everybody to go in that's an operator and find every kind of vendor that they need. This includes the ability to search, to have AI matching, find the right person for you or the right vendor for you, to immediately create RFPs and do matching of pricing and services. And most importantly, right here, you can see that they are endorsed by people in the industry. So this does not exist. This is one of the key parts, because when you're looking for someone that you want to hire, you don't have the chance to make a mistake. Most of these people are touching food, talking to customers on their first day. You need to have reliable vendors in this industry. So our system allows you to pretty much create a small birthday to a convention, conference, to open a venue, and it's all encompassing. Where have we reached? We're in our pilot situation right now. We just booked a partnership with New York Fashion Week. Our partners and myself are some of the biggest hospitality operators in New York City. We've opened over hundreds of venues. Some of them you've heard of, like maybe One Oak or Sushi by Boo. Or we have partnerships with Tao Group. So anytime people come here, they know some of the venues we operate. But we are a startup. We have this massive data piece. And what we're doing is taking operators who are doing massive events or opening venues and giving them the ability to source all the vendors through us, which is where we take 10% of the fee. Now, you can see New York Fashion Week. This is the new thing that just got announced in the press 2 weeks ago. They will be able to go into their operations portal, and then upload their run of show, and for every single one of these things that's needed per event, they can request proposals, and we give them the best vendors. So nothing like this has existed. We have already, in the last couple months, facilitated $485,000 of GMV across small and large events, and we have millions of dollars in the pipeline. And the reason that I'm actually on this pitch is that I've raised money from friends and family, and we have an incredible team. But now we're going to be launching massively to the public market in the beginning of next year. And we're going to need some capital to really deploy all the people that we need to facilitate all the work that's coming our way. So we're raising $1.5 million at a $15 million valuation, and we expect the valuation to triple after the New York Fashion Week in February 2027, where not only are we driving 100 events there operationally, not the fashion side, the operational hospitality side, but we're also facilitating their entire sponsorships. So we're running all this.
Thanks,
anyways,
Benjamin. Why don't we do this? Why don't we take
yeah.
some Q&A?
Please.
Great job, Benjamin. If you have a
Thank
question, you can raise your name, hand in chat. So, Ben, you did mention that obviously I host a lot of events. My question is, you got this marketplace, something goes wrong at an event. How quickly can you solve this problem with your app? Is it, is there a section where, okay, I don't have a caterer, I need charcuterie in 30 minutes? I mean, tell me functionally how it would work in a situation like that.
So that's a great question. And Scott, if I could give you guys a 15-second origin story, we were doing a Wu-Tang release party. This is like, I moved to New York. I didn't know anybody. I met these guys from the biggest rap group in the world. They're doing an album release party. Our grease trap gets flooded. We have no bathrooms for 300 people. And I have to call plumbers. I call 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 plumbers. And the eighth guy is like, oh, I'll come for $800. That's how Nightrush was born. I gave him the $800. The goal is to be able to have certain categories which we know that fail. What are those categories? Catering, staffing, ice, certain kinds of supplies, cords for DJ booths, which the lady that presented about the music fixing. There's a lot of musical instrumentation problems. So a subset of those will have a rush function that you can push a button and you don't get to negotiate price, but someone will be on their way to service that. Are we there yet? Now? No, not yet. We are 2,000 vendors in. We're going to have 30,000 vendors and then have that go live to be able to help people that are in need last minute.
Thanks, Ben. Anna, you got a question? Go ahead, Anna.
Yeah, help me understand how many potential customers, not vendors, but actual customers do you have signed up to this? And do you have any revenue you've generated so far?
Yeah, we generated a little revenue. I'm not gunning for revenue yet. There's several buckets of customers. Our primary customer is a standalone restaurant bar that needs help with either staffing on the supply side or fixing things. I call it like, what's your problem? We go in there, we're like, what's your problem? They're like, our ice machine broke. We get them an ice machine quote. Sometimes they're expanding. They're like, we need a whole new kitchen. We have a $200,000 quote we're working on. That's $20,000 for us. Our best right now introductory layer of business is helping events. Why? Because events come here to New York. I'm specifically focused on New York, and they have so many needs. We're doing a charity with the US Pro-Am on Monday. They needed a caterer, they need a photographer, sound. So what we do is we take their needs and then we go to our network of vendors and get RFPs and sign them up simultaneously. So it's a two-edged sword. So I am super gating how much business we take on because our net worth is unlike anything you've ever seen. This is my stack of business cards from when I was running hospitality in New York. I have thousands of contacts. So when I'm ready to start, I'm going to declare like a big green light, and our team is going to take in. So to answer your question, there are 36,000 bars, clubs, and restaurants in New York City generating, I think, $90 billion of revenue. There's another 100,000 plus major events and lots of smaller events in New York that's what we're tackling first. Additionally, we're going to do things around Formula One, which one of our core investors brought to the US. We have plans for Davos. We have plans for Basel and so on. So we have infinite expansion, I think, across this market because we do not have a direct competitor that does exactly what we do.
Thanks for that question, Anna. Jay, you got a question? Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, just a quick question on the investment itself. I'm kind of interested in your capital runway because right now you're raising like 1.5 million, and then you plan on doing a crowdfunding raise. And what's the reason that you would do a Reg CF raise against some kind of institutional round?
Okay, that's a great question. I'll tell you here. So the Reg CF comes from, we have a couple key investors who are really like well-established guys. The reason for the Reg CF is hospitality is such a wide net of people that a lot of people want to have small investments into Nightrush. We want them to participate. It's kind of like maybe a bad example. Uber let their drivers have a piece of the company. I want a bartender to be able to invest $100 into Nightrush if they're using this. I want a DJ. I want everybody to be part of it. Now, Jim McIntyre, who's one of our backers and earliest investors, he created a company called Foundation DB, which sold to Apple, became iCloud iMessage. He's one of my mentors. He suggests for us to do a Reg CF because he's on 15 boards and he's seen the situation with the SaaS apocalypse of changing up valuations, all that stuff. Whereas if we have a wide net that we can cast to the hospitality world at large, and we're a prominent operational partner for so many big name venues and events, then a lot of the investment will come from the industry itself. So we don't want to sit and gate it and saying, hey, minimum check is 25K. Why would we do that? We can raise $5 million a year starting next year, continuously at a high valuation, right? From the people that we engage with. And we're doing already industry level events several times a month.
Okay. Reg CF makes sense if you have a community, and it looks like you have a community to tap. So thanks.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks, Ben, for that presentation. You can unshare your screen. And then next up, we've got Josh. I'm going to let you pronounce the name, Josh, so I don't butcher it. All right, I'm going to count you down. You ready, Josh? I can't hear your mic, Josh. Are you live? Check your mic, Josh. Josh, you're there.
I'm here. I'm here. You ready?
All right. You're
Sorry.
unmuted. There you go. All
Okay.
right, Josh. Hold on. I'm going to count you down. 3, 2, 1. Look for 30 seconds in chat. 3, 2, 1, go.
Good afternoon. My name is Josh Fertel. The name of my company is Qovry. Healthcare spends an enormous amount of time and money getting a patient to a procedure. But something happens when the patient goes home. They get lost. They get instructions. They get a nice packet, maybe an app, follow-up appointment in a couple of weeks, and we say, good luck. We'll see you at the next appointment. And that's the gap that Qovry is where we live. Right now, recovery is one of healthcare's biggest blind spots. Research shows 75% of medical practice do not have a structured post-procedure recovery pathway. 50% of all patients are non-adherent to post-op rehab protocols. That's $300 billion lost on medication and rehab. Patients recover more slowly, providers lose visibility, hospitals face readmission, avoidable readmissions, payers absorb unnecessary costs, and providers leave reimbursable monitoring revenue on the table. Everybody loses when recovery isn't managed. 27.6% of patients are readmitted into hospital after 180 days of a major surgery. 8.1% of hospitals are hit with CMS readmission penalties, and that's $284 million that gets lost. And that's what we're trying to change. Think about Qovry as the operating system connecting the patient, the provider, and recovery process from discharge through recovery. Patient gets a simple app that tells them what to do today, exercises, check-ins, medication reminders, DME, meals, prescriptions, communication with their care team. All this behind an AI monitoring engine. Qovry continuously looks at patient-reported information, wearables, sensor data, and adherence. Somebody's recovering normally, we don't create any more work for a practice. But if pain spikes, exercises are missed, heart rate changes, or something doesn't look right, Qovry services the patient that actually needs attention. And here's the part that changes the economics. Qovry just doesn't monitor recovery. We automate the documentation and capture reimbursable RTM activity. So we're not asking practices to buy another piece of software. We're giving them a platform designed to help them pay for it. We're entering a massive market. U.S. post-acute market is approximately $490 billion. The U.S. RTM market alone is projected to grow from 504 million to 1.68 billion in 2033. We don't need a massive piece of the market to build a significant company. Our initial universe is approximately 25,000 independent private practices across targeted specialties. So there's patient engagement. There are patient engagement platforms. There are remote monitoring companies. There are billing companies. There are EHRs. We're not trying to be one of them. We want to connect the entire recovery loop, recovery pathway, AI monitoring, provider intervention, reimbursement. And we're not EHR agnostic. We are, because independent practices don't need to replace their technology to improve recovery. We have more than one way to make money. SaaS licensing, a share of the monitoring revenue, DME fulfillment, referral revenue from services like pharmacy, transportation, nutrition, patient-consented target messaging. That gives us multiple revenue opportunities for the same recovery episode. Our initial beachhead is independent orthopedics and physical therapy. Why? High procedure volume, long recovery periods, measurable outcomes. Very clear need for ongoing patient engagement. Then we expanded to cardiology, oncology, bariatrics, infectious diseases, addiction medicine, other recovery-intensive specialties. We have done a deep dive into our competition. We will be the only one that is RTM capture focused and independent practice as our primary as compared to hospital systems. Here's our founders. I'm in charge of product and commercial strategy. Brendan Nunez has been in healthcare for 10 years, clinical operations, provider adoption. Terry Anderton, he's our CTO, co-founder, platform architecture, EHR, SOC 2. He has built and exited other companies. Our raise is 2.5 million. This capital gives us an 18-month runway to complete the product, deploy into our first practices, validate the model, and reach our target of 25 paying practices, more than 5,000 patients under active recovery, 2 million plus ARR run rate. I'll leave you with this. Healthcare is an operating system for hospitals, operating system for practices, operating system for billings. Nobody owns what happens after the patient goes home, and we intend to do that. Qovry is a revenue operating system, or recovery operating system. If I have more time, we are already building. I can't show it to you in 5 minutes, but if it's something that just shoot, I'd love to get on another call where we can actually show the UX and UI that we've already started building. Thanks. Was that too quick, Scott?
I think we might have lost Scott.
Apologize. I lost my mute button. I'm back. Apologies for that. Thank you, Josh. I know we got some questions coming in. Anna, why don't you take the first one?
Yeah, obviously you're building a really great platform, high need. Do you have any, maybe I missed it, but have you got any hospital collaborators early stages to give you feedback, or are you doing this more internally and then you're going to do the collaborations with hospitals?
We have sent out surveys. Yes, we have sent them to hospitalists. We have sent them to hospitals. We've sent them to independent. And honestly, we're still gathering the data, but there is a need and we are getting good positive feedback.
Thanks, Andy. You got another question? Go ahead, Jake. Go ahead.
Yeah, on the investment, you're raising 2.5 million. What is the structure? Is there a valuation?
We're valuing at 10 million. We're open to the structure, if that means anything. But I think a safe would be the best way for us to go. But we're listening.
Thanks, Jay. Josh, I had a question, and we had a conversation about this before. It seems like there's certain industries that are really can benefit from advancements in technology, and obviously healthcare is one of them. And I think I shared this story, even shared it online. A couple of weeks ago, I had to go to the doctor. I went to my primary, and I had to get some tests. And then I contacted. They got the referral, and I called the referring practice, and they told me that they had to fax the referral form to the other doctor.
Yes.
And my immediate reaction is, are we still in 1999? Am I wearing bell bottoms? What's up?
There's a lot of faxing.
Then they told me their fax department took 3 business days to process this. God forbid if I had, a nail in my eye. How can you solve a problem like that?
Check-ins are done daily. Information is uploaded into the provider's portal instantaneously in real time. So if there is somebody that says, listen, I have a little more pain than I did yesterday, we get the doctor involved. If they're saying, you know what, my scar doesn't look right, my incision doesn't look right, with our tech, you take a picture of it, it's uploaded to the doctor immediately. Anything that comes out that would be a red flag, except for anything that's going perfectly, is going to be sent over in real time. No faxing necessary.
Okay. So talk to me about the benefit to the doctors. I mean, how obviously doctors' practices, as I just mentioned, aren't necessarily the most efficient, really run businesses.
Right.
How can this be done, implemented and create more revenue opportunities and more profit opportunities for the practices?
Yes. So think of it like a 24-hour nurse. So that doesn't have to call and check in with their patients all the time. It's done automatically through our AI. When remote therapy is a big deal now, CMS loves it. It keeps people out of the hospital. So for every 30 minutes that a patient engages every month, that is a reimbursable code to a practice. So the cost of the monthly subscription is more than covered, and it could be actually a real good revenue center for an individual practice or hospital. Besides the fact that it keeps readmissions down, that's our number one KPI, keeping people out of having to go back to the hospital.
Appreciate that. Oh, we got time for one more question for Josh, if there's one more question. All right, Jay, you got a follow-up. Yeah, Jay.
Yeah, I've got a quick question on the revenue ramp because it seems like you're attacking a massive market with a highly needed solution,
Yeah.
and you're projecting in 5 years to get to 60 million in revenue. Could you just tell us how you walk through those numbers? Because to me that seems a little conservative, which is unusual for an investor to say, but
Yeah, let me sorry about that. Go back to the slide. I apologize.
and also on that 60 million, what do you project your margin to be?
60 million was going to we expect 23 million earnings on the 60 million. I did that earlier today. I don't. Oh, here we go. Okay, sorry. So we expect, here we go. We expect 52 million. So we're going to go from 50 practices to 1,000 practices within the 5 years. And that'll bring us to the 52.9, 53 million that we're expecting in revenue, if that answers your question.
Yeah, it's helpful. Thanks.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate that.
Yep.
All righty. We've got one more investor presentation, then we got a special presentation, and we'll have some Q&A opportunities for our panelists. So next up, we got Terry Anderton. Terry, you there?
I am. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine.
All right.
All
Let me
righty.
share my screen. Oops. Here we go. And
All righty. Can we get
put it in-
slideshow mode?
You bet.
Okay, okay, all righty. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, everyone. My name is Terry Anderton. I'm the co-founder and CEO of LVED. And some of you may have heard of us before because we've participated in these events in the past. LVED is what I like to call a life planning platform. It combines all the elements of, say, trust and will, where you can create legal documents, a full estate plan, with insurance and wealth management services. And it's all built on top of a digital vault that has some very unique and patented features, which I can go into. So the challenge with traditional estate planning is it's static. Typically, people pay $3,000 to $10,000 to get an estate plan done. They get a stack of documents and they put them in a drawer somewhere. 50% of people don't even have an estate plan of any type, and those that do, majority of them are out of date. The minute you buy something, have a grandchild, all these different life events that could occur. If people aren't updating their estate plan, then it goes out of date. Ours is dynamic. It's digital, dynamic, and you can make changes at any time without any additional cost. So that's one of the advantages. The other things that are what we call your circle, the people that you care about, or organizations, nonprofits, schools, whoever is part of your estate plan, are all on the platform. So everything is digital, connected. And the other issue is a lot of traditional estate plans have a complete blind spot when it comes to crypto, digital assets, non-traditional assets, which are things like LLC, membership units, stock options, even right down to your frequent flyer points and your iTunes library. Currently, $32 billion is lost to unnecessary taxes. And this is a staggering number, but $660 billion in crypto are lost because people did not pass on their credentials. And once crypto is locked in, you can't access. So you can't go present a power of attorney to a bank and get access to the account. You have to have the credentials to have access. And so it's a staggering number. So what is life planning? It's all of the traditional estate planning that you're familiar with, only done in a much more modern way. It's also includes full wealth management. We offer all different. We have a full insurance agency in all 50 states. We also have a wealth management firm that's called Love Financial, and so it's all combined into one offering. Let me go on to the next one. So I just want to give you a little sense of what our Digital Vault is all about and why it's special. We work with insurance companies, wealth management companies, CPA firms. They can actually use our platform for their intake of their clients. You can organize all of the important documents in our Digital Vault, and they're held in escrow. And what makes this different than, say, a Dropbox type solution or some of the solutions that firms might have today is that they don't do anything other than store the data. Ours, in fact, will automatically transfer assets to your intended heirs upon your death. So it's got this unique escrow feature. It'll pass along your crypto. It'll pass along your usernames and passwords, along with a power of attorney. We allow people to invite their CPA, their lawyer, whoever that needs access to certain elements in their vault, and it's all permission based, and you can give it access right down to the single document, not to the whole platform. It's a pretty big market. $50 billion TAM. SAM is about $5 billion. Now, quite frankly, this is just the legal document side of it. When you include things like insurance and all of the others, it's a staggering number. It's over $1 trillion industry. We're trying to be realistic here. We believe we can get to about $250 million is our song. So our revenue streams come, somewhat diversified. Life plans are about 50%, insurance 15%, wealth management about 20%, and then we have a plan to actually harvest data and create research reports. Because we have some very interesting data that people will find interesting. It's anonymized, but we'll be able to sell research reports. Think of like ADP, how they do jobs numbers. We'll have a different angle on that. We intend to get to about $100 million by 2030, and we want to be around 200,000 users on our platform by then. To get there. And today, to head off that question, we're somewhere around 2,500 users. We're relatively new. We're an earlier stage company, but we're growing. We're a group out of MIT and UNC. We're actually funded by MIT, among other people. My personal background, I've started a number of, this is my 5th startup. All of them have exited. I created Nitro Security, which I sold to McAfee for $150 million. So I had a strong security background. Most recently, I invented satellite-based dog collars. You can keep them contained, and I sold that to Halo, the dog whisperer, Cesar Millan.
Hey,
Ryan,
Terry,
am I out of time?
You're at 5 minutes plus, so I'm going to cut you off there.
Okay, that's fine.
Why don't you go to the Ask slide, and we'll take some Q&A.
Sure.
Fantastic. Awesome.
We're looking for $5 million at a $17 million pre-money. And we think our valuations we've always historically kept our valuations low. It's more important to us to get the right money in. We've got some strategic investors in the deal right now from the accounting industry in particular, and along with MIT and some other funds, including Expert Dojo. Yeah. Thank you.
Of course. Great. If you have a question, you can raise your hand in chat. Talk to me a little bit, Terry, about your strategic alliances and how that impacts your go-to-market. You've been able to take going from one-off sales to one-to-many. Maybe share a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So for instance, right now, I'm super excited. We're launching with another company called RSSA, who's part of the AARP kind of initiative. And we're going out to over 200,000 CPA firms, but also a whole bunch of other companies to do an employee benefit solution. So we've partnered with them. We've packaged up as an employee benefit so people can offer it as a benefit. We signed a deal with a big, anybody's ever heard of ATAX? I think they have 164 locations. They're actually going to start using our platform when they do tax preparation services in bricks and mortar, and they'll now add an incremental revenue stream to their line item, which will be estate planning. And
Right.
So those are the kinds of partnerships we're doing.
Thanks, Terry. Jay, you got a question? Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I'm kind of confused. I don't understand who's paying for the product, how much they're paying, if you're actually eliminating the lawyers or you're including them. There's a lot of, I mean, the overall picture I get, and I've been through this process and I understand how, the pain point that you're replacing, which I love. I just don't understand exactly how it works.
The revenue model. Yeah, absolutely. So the platform includes, you don't need a lawyer. All the documents are included in one price. It's $495 at the retail level for a trust and will life plan. $295 if it's a will-based plan, and then if you just want the digital vault, it's $100 a year. The way we go to market is either people can come direct to consumer, go to our website, sign up, download, pay retail, or we work through all kinds of like CPA firms and others that are signed up with us as affiliates, and so they will provide it to their clients. And we have two different ways they can do. They can pay a seat license and provide it to their clients for free. In that case, it's $5,000 for a seat, and they can provide up to 50 life plans to 50 clients. And they can charge for certain aspects. We don't care, but that's how that works. Or they can sell it retail, and we provide back 35% of the revenue to the affiliate. In this case, it would be a CPA that I was describing. The last way we go to market, for instance, in the employee benefit, is they have to pay for all their employees. So, for instance, if you have a group of 500. The price is lower. It's like about $100 per employee, but the assumption behind the numbers is there'll be a 20 to 30% utilization rate of our software. So at the end of the day, we still end up where we want to be as far as price-wise. Cost of goods sold is very little. We're operating on an 80% gross profit margin.
Great, Jay. Why don't we take a couple more questions? Oh, yeah. You got a follow-up, Jay?
Just a quick follow-up. $495 for the trust and will, and then is there an ongoing annual fee, like $100 a month, a year for the vault?
For the vault. That's correct.
Okay.
And once somebody, if we go through an affiliate, we pay them 35% forever, so they can build a recurring revenue stream, and that's very attractive. Great.
Thank you. David Friedman, thanks for joining us. I know you have a question, but before you ask the question, please, you came in a little bit after we started, so I'd love to, I'm sure everyone wants to learn more about what you do at TCA and your background.
Yeah, real simple. Former tech executive, been with TCA 18 years, former chairperson. Now I just do angel investing and stock market trading and some SBDC stuff. And occasionally I can also serve as a driver for Jay Goff. So I just want to put that. Yeah, I have a few questions. I just went through my trusts and stuff. I like what you're doing. How do you compare with trust? And if I use trust and will plus sync, and then that's one question. The other one is you're looking for a lead investor, but your chart says you're backed by leading investors. That's throwing me off somehow.
Those are the rear view mirror. We're looking for a new investor to come in. So all those people are already in the deal.
So why don't they take the lead, or are they investing in the second round of the deal? That's that's the question.
Yeah, they'll participate. They'll take most definitely. They'll take the pro rata in the
All
next
right.
deal.
So how do they compare with if I use Trust and Will, which has probably a pretty good brand, as well as Sync, which is what I use right now? How are you better?
Yeah, in a number of ways. So, for instance, and Trustable is a great company. I think they're going to do they have over 1 million subscribers. They're about to go public, from what I understand. They're preparing themselves for that. And that just kind of demonstrates the market is there. But they're basically the same process that you would use if you were going to LegalZoom. There's really not a difference. It's templated legal documents that then you can print off, or they'll send them to you in a binder. They don't have this concept of dynamic updates. And they're not really, we're designed more for a B2B sell. We do have a direct to consumer, but we have this whole workflow dashboards for CPAs, accountants, wealth managers to manage multiple
You just
clients.
answered the question. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you may also want to offer it just as a thought of benefit to benefit to employees of corporations.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. I like it.
Thanks, David. All right, Tim, you got a question? Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, Terry, do you have on your roadmap any kind of MCP or APIs for existing tax software? Because the last thing any tax professional wants to do is have another layer. So if they're using CCH or Financial Sense or ProConnect, are you going to have the ability to connect that vault to their existing ingestion engine?
We're being very selective. We've got a project right now that they use Drake as their tax preparation software. And so we have an API. We have an API today, so we can do third-party ingestion. But we're working on a deal that would be directly tied to an accounting software. In this case, Drake.
Starting with Drake. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Fantastic. All right, thanks, Terry. Well, again, to all the companies that presented, great job and congratulations for that. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to introduce one of our partners, Jason Hammond from Fidelity Private Shares. And cap table management is something that seems to be one of these things that kind of get put by the wayside, but or not necessarily given the practice it deserves. So I'm going to welcome Jay Hammond on our program today, and share a little bit about Fidelity Private Shares.
Thank you very much, Scott. Always a great to work with you. Another great event as well. Good seeing everyone today. I know I've met quite a few of you in the past and in the future. I know we have a few clients here as well on the call, so that's always great to do. So what I'm going to do is share my screen. I'm going to give you a little background on Fidelity Private Shares. Won't take too long, just kind of show you what the product is and the solution is. So Fidelity Private Shares actually came about from a company I was at called Shoebox about 5 years ago. Fidelity, as everyone knows, the huge company, and they deal with a lot of public companies, and they do manage cap tables and data rooms and things like that for thousands of public companies. But a lot of companies, when they're IPOing, said, hey, we want something different. That was extremely expensive. And then we ended up having to pay a lot of money when we moved over to Fidelity to go public. So they tried to build a cap table solution and realized how hard it was, and then started looking around and realized that some of the companies have raised so much money that their valuation is sky high and not worth what they're doing. And ended up speaking with us, and through the conversation, it was going to be an integration, and ended up being an acquisition. So, we're part of the big Fidelity. So everyone thinks Fidelity Private Shares. We're the private market side of Fidelity. So what we basically do in Fidelity's mind is, we're going to work with you from day one. So when you're ready to start raising, we have a cap table that you can use right here. Cap table is a little different than some of the other competitors that we deal with. You can actually put the grants underneath someone's name, and you can click on it so you're ready to audit at any time. So it makes it very easy for you to do. We have all the Delaware C NEVCA docs in the system. So you can have an attorney look at it once, or you can just use the documents here. They're all clean. You can see here on the left-hand side is the Cliff Note version. Right-hand side's the Legally version. So simple cap table. This is important, and this is probably the most important piece. Scott's mentioned this to many people. It's the deal room / data room. So you can put this and set this up basically any way you want. whether you want to add folders, create folders. If I'm investing in your company and you want to create a Jason Hammond folder, you can, and you can give access just to me to that folder. You can give access to any document, or you can give access to anyone you want. So you can have as many users as you want on the system accessing these documents. But say you wanted to do a Series B round and you already did an A, you can give me access to all the documents you use for A round. So this is very simple, very easy to use. Our competitors, Carta, people are using Carta would probably be half price of Carta. And we do a couple other things. We actually give you a tech support person that you're going to work with and you would work with. And we also have people like me in the field. So I do events around the country all the time. Clients are always guaranteed to join. As Scott knows, I do a ton of them with him, but I have a lot of venture capital firms as partners and we do a lot of meet and greets to get founders in front of investors. And we're kind of an end-to-end solution where, if you start a workflow where you want to issue grants, you want to do 409A valuations, you want to do HSAs, any of that stuff. If you do a safe convertible note, you can do it right through the system. And again, the documents are there, and it's easy as just walking through a workflow. So once the workflow is completed, it automatically updates the data room, which no one else does, and it updates the cap table. So we have a deal with anyone who's on this call and with Scott, anyone who refers, 20% discount. And also, so anyone on this call, also any investors that are here, you refer someone over to us, they also get a 20% discount. And, I'd love to hear from you as well with different events, but please reach out. I'll send out an email, reach out, let's set up a meeting, let's talk, and we'll leave it from there. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jason, for that. Yeah, I put a link in the chat if anyone's interested. So you can actually just reach out to me, and I'm happy to schedule a call with Jason. So, well, what I'd like to do now is we've had some great companies present today, and I know they're getting feedback one-on-one, but what I want to do now is two things. I want to kind of go around our virtual room of investors, and I'd love to get a little feedback about what you heard today, things you liked, things that could be changed, and maybe some general feedback first. And then what I'll do after that, if you have questions on this call for our investors, I'll allow you to post them in chat, and we'll take care of some of those. So let's do this. Tim, this is, I think, your second call. Tim, I'd love to get your feedback on the presentations you heard today, what you liked, what could be changed, and your general overall impression.
Yeah, I think I don't know what it is about your events or your people here, Scott, but these presentations are so clear. I mean, top 1%, it is time well served, and we don't get that. And I volunteer and mentor all over the place, and this is most certainly one of the highest quality groups of folks where it's actually kind of hard. Like if I only had one check, I wouldn't know where to start really. Like we can look for something personally alignment, but if I'm looking at objectively, like there's a lot of great businesses here. I think, one of the things that is helpful, and it's hard with the 5 minutes, is to understand not only the economics of the profit, but also the relationships. And Terry mentioned, he had some previous investors, and the valuations are there. From really great deals to seems like a little bit hard to defend it. I think some of the loftier valuations would be helpful if somebody had something, and please don't reference somebody else. I don't care what somebody else is, but let me understand a little bit more on the mechanics of how you got there. And that at least lets me understand how you're looking at the financing of this company. Right. And it doesn't mean it's going to be a point of disagreement, but it's at least a way to understand. And also the amount that we're raising. Some of these were pretty sizable amounts when I look at it and to say, why don't we raise half of that and get to that next inflection point of optical value? Because it's all BS, right? We don't get an enterprise value until we pretty much sell this thing or deep priced round. Why are we raising so much? Are you lighting most of this on fire? Are you really going to deploy $3 million in 18 months? You have the team to do it. Like understand a little bit more of that stewardship, but it's tough because you've got 5 minutes, which as an investor, we appreciate getting to it quickly.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Tim. Appreciate that.
Top notch, Scott.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And I'd love to get your feedback, what you heard today.
Yeah, I mean, the first piece I'd say is a great variety of sectors. I like the fact that, nobody's competing with each other, but each one is sort of really delving into its sector and finding that opportunity. I was impressed by the way that they described the problem statement. I thought it was very clear what problem each of them was solving for. So clearly they've been coached and honed, as they said. So those were the two standouts for me. I think two things that always catch me in these types of events. One is it's really important to be upfront about what your commercial traction actually is. Just be honest about where you are, in terms of how many customers you have, or whether you're doing early stage collaborations, you're getting feedback. That is a great and powerful signal for us as investors that your problem statement, your solution actually has got legs. And then the second thing is, whenever I hear founders say we don't have competition, we're in a blue ocean, that's a yellow flag to me, right? Because there's always competition, whether it's direct or indirect. And so if you can tackle that head on, it just makes your presentation much more credible.
I really appreciate that. I use this phrase all the time that the pencil is still a competition to the computer. So I definitely concur with that. Jay, obviously you've been here a few times now. I'd love to get your feedback on what you heard today.
Sure. I was surprised, which was great. I really liked a couple of the different people, and a couple of the surprises were unusual. The SimplyRetail, I love just because it's a different approach to a well-known problem. So I like that. I was really surprised about Lisa's presentation because when I first saw the topic, I'm like, a musical academy, what is? And the more I got into it, the more I understood that there's a real opportunity there, and it's certainly worth investigating. So overall, they were good. Redtail's going to be putting out a report in the next couple of weeks about what we're seeing in investment decks and where people are losing traction. And what Anna said was really important. The problem is usually very well articulated in most of the startup decks we see, but the evidence base is the part that's missing, and that's where they're losing the investors. So I think, in general terms, I would really work on what is our evidence. And, like Tim said, what other people are doing doesn't really matter. It's what can you demonstrate that, and as one of my mentors in the investing world always says, will the dog eat the dog food? Will the customer actually use what you have to offer? Or is it just a nice to have that a lot of people say, oh yeah, I want it. And then when the time comes, they don't buy it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's not a transaction until the money changes hands. So I definitely empathize with that, Jay. Why don't we do this now? We got a few minutes left. If you have a question, feel free to post it in chat or raise your hand. I'd like to get kind of a general assessment. Jay, you're there first. Obviously, we've had a very frothy market from both the public and the private side. Where do you see what's happening? I mean, I have my own opinions because I was there during the dot-com boom, and I'm getting those chills right now. So I'll start with Jay, and I'll go to Ann and Tim and David. You want to chime in? I'd love to hear it. Where do you think the market is for investing in startups?
Well, it's really interesting because a lot of the investors I'm talking to are saying it's the toughest time to raise capital ever. And yet at the same time, you're seeing a lot of money flowing into like the hype of the week, which is AI. But those are all in the bigger deals. So what I'm really looking at and what I'm concentrating really a lot of my focus on right now is the secondaries market, because I think that's where liquidity is going to be happening in the future. So I think that's an area right now. It's just the top level, institutionally led investments that are getting secondary activity. But I think that will trickle down to the smaller deals eventually. So as an investor, especially an early stage angel investor who sees my capital locked up for years and years and years and years, I'd like to see some liquidity.
I appreciate that.
Can I follow on from
in.
Jay's?
Jump
Of course,
in.
I think Jay hit the nail on the head. Over the last several years, we have not seen a lot of liquidity events. In fact, for 2 years, I think in TCA we had one or two deals, but they were good deals. I mean, they returned 20 to 30 times, but few and far between. This March, I saw 2 deals come through, which was great, felt good. But that made us all a little suspect about investing in other deals out there. But one of the things that I see, and it's something that we'll probably do on our TCA Crossroads podcast, is talk about the difference between better mousetraps and discontinuous innovation. So some of us each individual investing group has their investment thesis. I think TCA in Orange County, for example, under George Carpenter's leadership, is looking at a barbell strategy. We're looking at 40% IRR over 3 to 5 years, trying to reduce the time it takes for a liquidity event, but also look at the 10, 20x returns on the other side of the barbell. But what I caution people is when you give and this is for the entrepreneur, when you're providing input or when you're providing your presentation, try to define whether or not this is discontinuous innovation or a better mousetrap. And it goes back to, I think, maybe it was Anna's point relating to competition. There is always competition. There's competition using an abacus if you really want to look at the process of a computer.
Right.
There's always competition using pen and paper. So there's
Right.
always some way of doing things, but you have to make that argument pretty clearly and make it clear what the end game is. Because all of us, I mean, maybe Jay is different, maybe Tim is different, but most of us look at the end result. So we begin with the
Right.
end in mind. What's the exit potential, which backs into what the valuation is, and that relates to better mousetrap or discontinuous. And then you can argue about segments. So that's my thinking. But one of the final points. Make sure when you do a presentation, any of the entrepreneurs, you put that context or that elevator pitch up front. I want to hear within the first 30, 45 seconds what you do, who your target is, what the underlying technology and differentiation is. And going back to Anna, I think it's Anna, hopefully I got it right, Anna's point on competition, why are you different than what's out there today? Because that's going to frame whether or not I'm going to really pay attention to the remainder and go to the next step. Sorry for being
No,
long-winded, as
no,
I
I
usually
appreciate
am.
that, David. No, I appreciate that, and I appreciate you driving Jay around. So, so I'm gonna pivot the question a little bit, but you can answer the previous question too. Came out in chat, and I think this is really appropriate because of the nature of the companies that are presenting with us. David asked a really good question. I'm gonna let Gary take this one on first. As an investor, how do you bet on a young founder with little experience? I'll let Gary take it first, and then we'll go through everybody else.
Well, as all of us here know, it's team is one of the critical pieces, because a good team can take a idea and know when to pivot, versus the team that doesn't have the experience can take a good idea and tank it if they're not aware. So to me, that's always one of the big things I look at, is the team. And what my recommendation would be is, are you open to bringing in a co-founder? Do you have to be the CEO? Because founder and CEO can be very different. Somebody that doesn't have experience, I look for somebody that's got experience that has the experience in building a company. Because most founders have the product experience of what they're building, but not necessarily the experience in building a company. So would be my big advice, is to find a co-founder or hire a CEO that can come in. Then you run into the catch-22 of not having the money to come in to hire a CEO. But that's really where I would go with that type of question.
I appreciate that. So, Tim, how would you address that question to early stage founders? You're making a bet on the founders. How does that play in, and what are factors that are important?
And don't worry, early stage or new founders, like we still question successful founders because they could have just got lucky, right? Rising tide, that's all shit. Like a lot of successful founders in 21 and 22 that couldn't repeat it. So don't worry, you're not at a total disadvantage. But I think number one is being cognizant of your resources. Right? Degrees, credentials, and just putting all these face cards out there. If you don't know what those resources are going to do for you, like here's my advisory committee. Okay, well, how realistic, how engaged are they? Did they just agree to put a face on there, or are you using them too? And then number two would be, how objective are you on the mission? Are your ears open to this customer feedback loop, the product, or are you just watch too many Netflix videos and like movies and we're head down, I'm going to make it no matter what? Right. So just understand there is strong stewardship with that founder. and that they're not going to just, drive it into a wall because they're sure it's a painting, it's not real. So it's really good to have those conversations and tease them out and show, like, you got to put entrepreneurial feathers in your cap. Like when you're talking to an investor, being realistic and having like, oh, I'm going to pivot. Well, what's your KPIs? What tells you you need to pivot? And it better not be when you're out of money coming back. Like, how do we know something's not quite working? Like, and that's a good way that gets the establishment. I got trust in you.
Thank you, that's Tim. So, and I'm gonna let you take this question. Ramya, at pre-seed, what do you weigh more early, revenue or evidence of go-to-market? So obviously traction has a lot of different varieties. So maybe you can address that question in terms of traction and how that impacts, your decision.
I mean, clearly, if you have, early revenues, that's amazing, right? But that isn't really what I mean by commercial traction. What I'm looking for is founders who have talked to and consolidated and taken insight from their potential customer base and really understand that kind of product solution piece. I'm looking for founders that have that product market fit mindset. These are people who are not obsessed with their technology and their platform and their product and then trying to find a market. It's the other way around. They have talked to customers and they've used those customer feedback conversations to drive what solution they think they need. And that is far more, coming back to your point about a young founder, that I would bet on a young founder that has the product market fit mindset because they'll figure it out. They'll be able to interpret the market signals and turn that into an enterprise.
Fantastic, Anna. So we're going to wrap it up with just final thoughts. I'll start with Anna. Anna, what's your final thought? What's your piece of inspiration for everybody listening in today?
So my final thought is don't worry about the hype of the hyperscalers and the AI hype. Focus on product market fit. It wins every time. And you will find that if you are doing, as David Friedman said, if you have discontinuous innovation, if you're really disrupting the market, you're not just another incremental player, you've got a real chance. So don't give up.
Fantastic. Appreciate that. Tim, final thoughts, inspiration.
Yeah, build a really good team around you. That's the number one thing. And the second thing is make sure your product market fit, and that relates to talk to your customers. Make sure you know those customers, because when we do due diligence, we're going to be talking to those customers or potential customers. And we're going to try to correlate with what we understand with what you said, and it better not be a disconnect. I totally support what Anna said. Took the words out of my mouth, actually. Good job.
Fantastic. Thanks, David. So Tim, what are your final thoughts? Piece of advice, inspiration.
Yeah, just like it's critical to talk to the customers and find out what they want. They'll tell you what they want to buy. Do that with your investors too, and make sure there's alignment, thesis, time, and they're also check writing. There's a lot of tire kickers out there that pretend they're writing checks and they're not. And don't be afraid to prioritize your time and make sure you're spending it with people who can write a check, and or you're spending it with the right folks who have a part of that decision-making process. Like, your time as an entrepreneur is extremely valuable. Don't forget that.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Tim. Jay, final thoughts, inspiration.
Yeah, I think my final thought on this would just be coachability of the CEO. A lot of times you get a hard-headed CEO, and that goes back to Gary's, should you have a co-CEO or should you have somebody with you? I've seen some really breakthrough technologies that are just like amazing that I have just passed on because the scientist insists on being the CEO and she has no business experience,
Right.
and it's just not going to happen. So I would say be open to coaching, be open to input from both customers and investors.
No, I agree with 100%, Jay. I tell entrepreneurs all the time, be honest about two things: what you know, but more importantly, what you don't know. So I very much agree with that. Thanks, Jay. I'm going to close with you, Gary. Final thoughts, some inspiration to close this out.
So my thought is just making clear the value proposition, taking in that competition, because a lot of people were, not getting to pricing, not getting to things like that really matter. And how's that value proposition occur to all of the stakeholders, customers, investors, everybody along the line.
Fantastic. Well, again, I'm going to close the recording in just a moment. I'll keep it open a little bit after people want to, hit the chat and go crazy. You're more than welcome to do that. Again, I want to thank all our investors for joining us. I want to have special thanks to Jason at Fidelity Private Shares for his help and support. And congratulations to all the entrepreneurs that presented today. And as I always close, if there's something you hated, tell me. If there's something you loved, tell everybody else. And with that, I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you.
Nice job, by the way.